Hello there everybody, Jordan back again with another review, and this is going to be for the 2026 film Disclosure Day, and it's directed by Steven Spielberg and stars Josh O'Connor, Emily Blunt, Colin Firth and Evie Hewson. A cybersecurity expert is hunted down by a secret agency as he has information about other life forms and intends to release it to the public. Meanwhile, a weather girl starts to experience strange occurrences within herself. Well, Spielberg is the master of doing sci-fi / alien movies now, isn't he? He's done quite a few in the past, and he was returning to the big screen once again to do this type of format. And I gotta say, I was very, very excited to see this movie. It was a film that I only watched about 30 seconds of the trailer of, knew it was Steven Spielberg doing aliens and sci-fi, and it had Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor in. That's all I kind of needed to get my ass in the seat on day one. And you can feel Steven Spielberg's mitts all over this movie doing this tone of film. He drops in little archive footage moments here and there of sort of what may be alien spacecrafts or UFO sightings here and there, little snippets just to feed the viewer early on to get you invested in this mysterious story, all the way till it fully uncovers itself towards the end of the film. It feels very Steven Spielberg, and that's because it is. I mean, you can sort of relate to his other movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and everything with some of the stuff that he's doing here. However, just be warned, it's not a fully blown alien film or focuses heavily on the aliens throughout the entire movie. There's lots of other stuff going on here. So if you go into the cinema to see Steven Spielberg do an alien epic, you might leave a little bit disappointed because it doesn't fully focus on that for the whole time that this movie goes on. In fact, a lot of this film is a on-the-road sort of chase thriller movie where we have Josh O'Connor and his girlfriend, played by Evie Hewson, who are on the run from these agents because Josh O'Connor has this information that they want to get. And Evie Hewson is kind of like us as the audience member. She's put in there to have everything explained to her because she keeps asking questions of what is going on with Josh O'Connor, and she's only just found out now that, you know, he knew all this information really. But what I like about what Spielberg does, the way he crafts the movie and the writing, is that it never feels like it's too exposition heavy. It doesn't feel like they're just constantly dumping exposition here and there and holding the viewer's hand. It just has great chemistry with Josh O'Connor and Evie Hewson that it flows nicely. It feels like a real life sort of relationship that they're in, and this is how it would flow in real life if this person had only just found out that the other person has all this information. Even when about 45 minutes into the movie there is one big huge exposition dump, it still feels natural. So I really like the way the movie put the information across to the viewer and started to explain things in small segments here and there. And because this is a little bit of a thriller on the road chase movie, this makes for some great action set pieces. Now, don't get me wrong, you're not going to come to this movie and see all this big, exhilarating action and all these big, massive set pieces constantly. They're more quality over quantity. They drop in now and again, but when they happen, they are fantastic. And I really love how Spielberg sort of got the blood pumping here for the viewer, and you're already invested in the characters and everything. They are filmed perfectly. And there's one scene on a train that I was like, man, I am absolutely loving this scene in the movie. So yeah, you are rewarded for the slow build and the patience that you have with the storytelling, with these action set pieces that come here and there. Now, I say rewarded for the patience, but I've got to say I was always invested in this movie and the story. I was always intrigued to the mystery, and added to that is Emily Blunt's character in this sort of other story plot that's going on in the movie as well. She's this weather girl who can suddenly start to see into people's past and present and future and speak these different languages, and she can't quite understand what's going on, but she sort of embraces it as a character as well. So it's a very sort of strange personality shift that she kind of has, and you always want to know why this is happening. And there's a little bit of a connection between her and the Josh O'Connor character for reasons I'm not going to get into here, but I really liked how the movie sort of had their story paths coincide and how it explained and unraveled the mystery between them two characters. Now guys, there are some very strange things that happen in this movie, and you won't get all the answers until towards the end of the film. And in the third act, it does get a little bit even stranger, and this may feel very divisive to people, because I can see some people absolutely loving this and some people not caring what the hell is going on here. Now, I'm not a person who is quite clever at unpacking movies and sort of getting all these hidden metaphors and everything like that. And I wouldn't say there's too much of that in here. It's not one of them movies that is too smart for the audience. I think anyone could probably sort of work this out and unpack it. And that's exactly what I did after the movie finished. When I walked out the cinema, I was like, yeah, it was all right. It was all right. And as the night went on, I kind of sat on it for a bit and I was like, holy shit, I can't stop thinking about this movie. And I started to process it in my head, put all these little pieces together, what was going on, what they all meant. And I started to really, really love this film. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, that was actually a really great movie. So I love it when movies kind of stick in your head. The next day, I was still constantly thinking about it. And I actually can't wait to rewatch this film now, because I think when I go back, I'm just going to notice all these things and see how they come together even better on a second view. And so this is going to be a divisive film. I can see a lot of people not appreciating that, especially if you're coming to this film for the big Spielberg epic. But for me, I really liked how clever it was and how smartly written it was. But even though that third act is a little bit sort of complex, I do think the last 15 minutes of this movie is awesome. Like, you're just on the edge of your seat, wondering how it's all going to play out, where all these characters have been in the movie and how it's all coming to this big crescendo. And I couldn't take my eyes off it. I was like, holy shit, this movie has gripped me and it will not let go. But I really like how we have a bit of a commentary here on conspiracy theories, and could the world handle the truth if, you know, all this hidden stuff will come out one day. I really like how the movie kind of tackles that, you know, just society in general and how the world would change if certain things got out. But it also has these religious sort of undertones here, and it's also trying to mirror religion itself in a way. I really appreciated that about the film. But again, it's one of them where you really do have to unpack all this once you empty the cinema. But I really like what Spielberg was going for here, and it all comes together in the third act wonderfully. That's when you can really, really sort of appreciate this film, when it's all said and done. I just want to talk about the cast here as well. I think this is one of Emily Blunt's best performances, honestly. It's weird because at first you can't quite understand this thing that has happened to her, and you can see her as a really worried character. And towards the end of the film, she sort of embraces it, and you can see the personality change, that she realizes this is a bit of a gift she's been given. And as the character arc goes on throughout the runtime, you can just see the gears changing in her head just by the look on her face and the way she reacts to it all. And she can just speak different languages at the click of a finger. Like, one minute she'll be speaking German or South Korean or whatever. She's great in this movie. Josh O'Connor is someone I really like. This isn't his best role or anything. I will put that down to challenges. And I wouldn't say he's the most interesting character or the most out there personality in this movie, but he just does a solid job as our main protagonist. I mean, he does everything that's asked of him, really, and he's a likable enough character. Colin Firth as the main villain is just relentless. He just will not give up this chase, and you really hate the guy for some of the stuff that he does, the way he gets into people's heads and everything in this movie. Quite literally, you know what I mean when you see the film. But yeah, I always think that he's got a little bit of a sly look to him, and this one is no exception. But yeah, everyone across the board was awesome. Good to see Coleman Domingo in there as well, who I just think is awesome in everything I see him in. Added to that, we have a great score by John Williams. Once again, him and Spielberg just make magic on screen together, don't they? It's like the perfect mix, and this is no exception. This is a beautiful score that I was listening to the next day constantly. I was like, man, I just love what John Williams does here. Not his best score by any means, but still a solid and fantastic effort that just fits the tone of the film perfectly, really. Now, I do have a little bit of a mixed reaction here, guys, to this movie, because I don't quite know if I like the final few seconds of this film. And I think a lot of people will either love it or hate it, but I just can't decide. And my friend went to see this movie and texted me and going, that last scene was just absolute bullshit. I'm so annoyed. So I'm not going to even say what it is, but you will either be happy with the answer it gives you, or should I say the answer it doesn't give you, put it that way. I can't quite say if I prefer it or not, but on rewatch, maybe I will know the answer. Now, I do have a couple of negatives with this film, guys, and I'm going to have to touch on mini spoilers here, so if you don't want to know anything about this film, and I'll try and dance around it as much as possible, maybe now is the time to turn off. But what I'll say is something happens in this movie and the world is reacting to it, and I just don't know if the world would react like this in this day and age. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that, but it just feels like it was so overdone. And I basically have just gone on Sky News before recording this review, and the same sort of, I wouldn't say nowhere near as big, but something similar is on the Sky News website now. And it's been released in the FBI and everything. And it's like the 13th Build story headline. It's like there's other things that are irrelevant that are way above it. And I feel like that's the generation we live in now, where if this big event happened, most kids these days would just scroll onto the next thing on TikTok. So maybe I'm totally wrong about that. That is me sort of guessing how the world will react. But I've spoke to a few people who agree with me. And also, a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but there is a news reporter in this movie played by Courtney Grace, who I believe was actually a news anchor a couple of years ago, but she's in a few films now. And I thought her performance was just way over the top. I mean, I've seen TikTok videos and everything of people saying, this is just going to put it on the map. Wow, she steals the show. And I was just watching it going, she's really grating on me. I just not buying this performance at all. So sorry about that. That was just my personal opinion on it. However, guys, I really enjoyed this film. I can't wait to watch it again. I wouldn't say it's top tier Spielberg, but it's a damn solid effort from him. But it's not going to be for everyone. However, it was definitely for me. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now, guys. I'm going to give Disclosure Day an 8 out of 10. Yeah, one that just sticks with you and you're thinking about for days after. Okay, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Disclosure Day is that Steven Spielberg asked John Williams to do the score for him and compose it all, and he said no at first, and he gave him the name of 4 other composers, but Spielberg would not take no for an answer, and he finally came together, and this is actually their 30th collaboration since the Sugarland Express. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed that review. If you want more 2026 movie reviews, I'll leave them in the link down below. What did you think of Disclosure Day? You're a fan, you know? Seen a lot of people giving this like 3 stars and everything. Yeah, I mean, I say it's a divisive film. I think every film these days is divisive. So let me know what you thought. I do horror on this channel mainly, but I also do thriller and sci-fi, hence why I'm reviewing this movie as well. So if you like all that good stuff, the dark side of cinema, give this video a like and subscribe to this channel. It really helped me out. You all take care, guys. And I'll see you all in the next video.